track down, and you're sitting there and you are waiting for the engineer to give you the cue or whoever counts off the song, and you're sitting there, and if there's any noise going, then it takes that much more time for you to basically get a basic sound together. But with the Pierce amp and the Harkey speakers, it's a very quiet sounding setup for me, and I don't blow any speakers because it can handle the type of playing that I do. Um, also, the type of style that I play is basically a combination of classical guitar, and also it's a style that I've learned from playing drums, which some of your better bass players that I've learned over the years that I've met that play drums have a similar technique. But what developed my technique was me playing classical guitar for about a year, and I came across this five-finger style that I play. And most people that see me play cannot see what my hands are doing because my hands are crouched under like this. And I have it very close to the bass. So what I'm going to teach today is what's happening under these fingers, or under the hand, I mean, and also show my way of playing more notes than hammer-ons, which most bass players do that in this particular style. But first, what I would like to do is show you the six-string bass. I use Ken Smith basses. I've been using them for about 4 years now, and basically the way I came across the six string was I saw Anthony Jackson use the bass the first time when I was in New York, and I was very curious to find out how this bass functioned, other than having a low string and a high string. I was only playing four string, and I noticed that he had one string tuned lower and another string tuned higher. And matter of fact, I went to see him for 3 nights, and it was just he's such a wonderful bass player. Um, the six string bass is a bass that I recommend. If you're going to play a six string, you should know the basics about your four string bass first before you go into something like this, because it's a very complicated instrument. And if you just play regular bass and somebody tells you to go out and take a solo or something, and you're really exposed then, because on a regular four string you have just regular EADG, and it's tuned lower, so you can get away with more mistakes. But on a six string, everything stands out with this. And now D. And now G. Okay. Now I'll add the other two strings, the B and the C string. That's pretty low. So I'll do that about 3 times so you can pick it up and be able to tune to it. And one more. And now the C. Okay, now I'd like to talk about the sixth string, and I like to talk about also the electronics that I have in this particular bass, and go over some basic things about what the sixth string is all about. A six string bass is basically an extension of a four string and is tuned all the way across in fourths all the way up from your B, E, A, D, G, and C. So basically, the bass is a different instrument, but it's you have the range of a lower bass, like almost like a synth bass, and the range of like a guitar. So when you playing, if you like playing a low C, like a high C and then a low C, normally you can't do that on a four string unless you tune the E down to B, and sometimes it rattles because the neck cannot handle the pressure or the string being tuned down that low. And for the high string, basically it's a C and it's tuned, like I said, in fourths, and you have more of a higher sound like a guitar. Now I have 26 frets on this bass, and most of the basses that I've seen in six-string models only have 24, which are on most of the basses that you see now, 4, 5, and 6 strings. And also, let me stress one thing. When you're playing a six-string bass, it's good, like I said again about equipment, to have the best equipment and the right speakers. Because what happens in a lot of cases, this low string, sometimes you'll be playing, I know I play, and when I'm playing with my thumb and I hit it pretty hard. And causes sometimes the speakers to blow, and you can really have some bad equipment problems with low B in a lot of cases. So I do recommend get the best equipment and do a little research and do a little reading on six-string basses. And you can find out from music shops or even people that have six strings. They can tell you about what type of equipment to get for it. Now, what I like to do is talk about the electronics on this bass. This bass has a EQ that goes from 4K to 21K, which is very, very high for a normal bass. Basically, a normal bass goes about up to 8K, which is about around here. When I take this frequency switch and lower it, it's almost like a wah-wah pedal. It's about around here. But when I raise this up, the sound gets higher and it gets a little thinner. So what you have is a frequency that's very high in pitch. So Ken made this bass, and when he first made the bass, the frequency went up to about 12K or something like that. And then he developed a new component for it that was to cause the bass to go from 4K to 21K. So what you have here, and I'll explain it very slow in detail. You have a tone control, okay, for your bass and treble. You also have a volume control, a mode switch, which goes from the different modes, different settings. Okay. You have here the Q switch, which brings up the actual setting that you have on the bass, kind of similar to the treble and bass. And then you have the frequency where you can select the frequency that you want, like from all the way down. This is about at I say about 8K up to about 18K. You have here a balance control that basically it's almost like if you had a switch on the bass and you go from pickup to pickup. Now, on the newer basses, you have two knobs that has a tone control basically or a volume control for each pickup. This here is just one control, and this controls the back pickup and the front pickup. And set it in the middle, you have both. Here you have a on and off switch. Turn the bass off. You can turn it back on so you don't have to change your settings. You also have here a in and out of phase, which basically it takes both of the pickups and throws it out of phase. So you get this more, I call it this. You have a bypass switch. So for instance, if you don't want to use all the heavy electronics on the bass, you can just turn this switch and you just have basically just a regular bass with just a tone control and a volume control. And switch it back, and then you have all 5 of these knobs. And this is the special thing about this bass, that I have never seen any other bass in my entire life have these type of controls on it. But you have an envelope follower on this bass. And basically what this is it's like a wah-wah pedal. It's a built-in wah-wah pedal. Whereas like most guitars and basses that you see, the unit would usually be on the floor or would be in a rack mount case or something like that. So what happens is I switch this mode switch to the first mode and switch this switch over, and what you have is basically a wah-wah. Okay? Now you can also reverse the sound where it's sounding like it's, instead of going wow, it's going whoa, almost like backwards. Okay. We will come back to 6-string bass a little later on. Now I'd like to start the thumb technique on 4-string bass. To use the 4 fingers so that you'll be able to coordinate, so that you'll be able to play this technique and not have a whole lot of problems trying to play it consistently. First thing is that I practice just about every day on keeping these fingers together like this. Almost like if you were playing like this, I have mine under like this. So what we're going to do is go through each string, and we're going to go slowly like this on one string, just going back and forth with each finger. First on the E string, very slow. Back and forth. At first it might not be easy for you to do, because basically bass players that play with their thumb play with 1 or 2 fingers. So what I'm doing here is basically going through the motion with all 4 fingers, but very slowly. Now later on I will show you, when I play fast, how it works. Okay, we're going to go to the A string. Same way. First finger, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, the third, the second, and the first. Then back again. Go to D. Same way. And you do this, about 2 minutes a day until you get used to feeling the other 2 fingers coordinate with the other 2, with the front 2, which are the ones probably that you use all the time. Okay. Into the G. Okay. Okay. Now, again, I'll show you. Basically, my fingers are going like this. Okay? so that you understand what I'm doing. Because again, a lot of people that see me play cannot understand how I play so many notes and play so fast and so clean, and my hand is hardly moving. Well, this is 50% of the style that I play, and I mean, in terms of how I get so many notes in so many in such a short amount of time, and it's very fast, and sometimes it's a blur. Okay, now we're going to add the thumb to this. So what I'm doing again is the same thing with the fingers, back and forth, okay? But now we're going to start off with the thumb, the first finger, and the thumb again, and the first finger, a second finger, thumb, third finger, thumb, fourth finger, thumb, third finger, thumb, second finger, thumb, first finger. Okay, so basically, I would recommend to play this technique in the middle of the bass, but if you have a space near the front, the neck, then you can play it there too. So start off with thumb, first finger, thumb, second finger, thumb, third finger, thumb, fourth finger, thumb, third finger, thumb, second finger, thumb, first finger. Now we're going to the A. Thumb, first finger, same way as I did on the E string. And take your time. Don't try to rush into it and try to play it fast at first, because it's going to take a little time to just get used to doing just this. To the D. Okay. You can also practice this exercise without the bass. Just getting used to a feel of having your fingers do this. Okay. I'm going to start off with just learning how to play with your thumb and on your right hand and tapping with the left hand. Okay? And again, I'll go through all the open strings, but this time what I'll do is I'll play with my thumb on the open string, and then I'll tap with the left hand and come down on the next string like this. It's not even a note. It's a faulty note. And when you hear it, like if you hear Louis Johnson or Mark King, some of the guys that are known for this type of style, you'll hear more of basically a faulty note, which sounds like this. I'm just going to play it on one string. And basically, that is just a combination of a note and a rhythm. A thumb here and a tap here, just like this. Now you can do this on any string. Now that seems to be a little complicated, I'm sure, for those who are not used to playing that way. So what I'm going to do is basically just go right, left, and just do eighth notes, very slowly though, so that you understand what I'm doing, and you can always run the tape back and you know, take a look at it again. So I'm going to start off very slow and start off with the thumb on the right hand and the left hand tapping. Another thing that I stress is that when you're tapping, you don't want to be hitting the bass like this. You don't want to get a note, you just want to get a tap. Because when you're playing rhythms, if you're playing rhythm like I just played, you're gonna get more of a note like this, and you don't want to get a note because basically, if you're playing an E and you're just playing with an open string like this, you just want to get a tapping sound, just like this. Now we go to the next string, the next string, into the G. Excuse me. Okay, so now when you learn how to get a feel for that, it will sound more like this. As you get better, you'll be able to pick it up and be able to go faster like this. Okay. Now, that's the basic way of doing it. Now, what I've done with this is basically I've taken it to another level. And what it is I'm doing, rather than just tapping everything with this hand doing this, I've gone into doing something like tapping like this. Now, I'm playing the note rather than do it like this, I'm doing it like this. This helps you to play this type of style in any key. So you can play this in E, or you can play it in a key of A. Any key, it doesn't matter. Wherever you go, you're gonna E flat, so basically you can do this style in any key, doing it that way. So you have the hand like this, and you're just tapping like this on the note like this. Also, when you're using the fingers, and when you learn how to use the fingers, you can also have the fingers basically doing the same thing as the thumb. Well, it won't be as many notes, but basically, when you coordinate the thumb and the fingers together, you get more of a percussive sound, and you can play more notes. So you play. Okay. Now, there are some songs on the video that I did and played with some fantastic musicians. And I did a couple of solos, and the solos I did was with both the fingers and also with the thumb. And what I'm going to show you is the triplet technique. Now, the triplet technique is a technique that's been around a long time. The guy that made it famous was Larry Graham. And the way it was originally formed was basically all from the right hand. And I'm sure you've heard thousands and thousands of songs in the 70s and the disco era where you had bass lines going. So you had variations of going, doing that. Now, the triplet is basically when you're playing like this, you're adding a triplet in between the rhythm of this. And it's going like this, which is hard for me to play because I have another style altogether of playing. But I want to explain that to you before I go into my way of playing triplets. Okay, now my triplet is basically a triplet that's a hammer-on triplet, and what it is, you can choose to play a dead note, which is not a note but a rhythm, or you can play the note, and I'll show you how that's done. What you do is take your hand. We can do it in D because I'm doing everything in E, and I want to show how the style can be played in different keys too. So basically, you take your finger, first finger, and put it across like a capo, like on a guitar, a folk guitar. And then you're playing the D, okay, on the A string, and then you're playing C on the G string. But what you're doing is you're going thumb, then you're going first finger, then you're hammering the next note. Okay, thumb, first finger, and hammer the next note. So worry about the rhythm at first, but you know it's going to end up being triplets. But you have to practice slow. It's very important to practice slow when you're learning this technique, because if you try to play it fast, you're not going to have. It's not going to make any sense for one. Number two, it's basically going to really frustrate you a lot. So I mean, take your time and not don't try to learn this style overnight. Take your time, learn each individual exercise, and when you get it right, go to the next one. Don't try to learn everything at once. Because in a lot of cases, I see musicians that learn or try to emulate my style of playing, and they have bits and pieces of it, and they come to me and they say, "Is that right?" And I just have to be honest. No, that's not right. But some of my students will study with me, for a little while, and then they'll take that and say, "Oh, now I know how to play what he plays." And then they come see me play, and they said, "Oh my God, what has he learned?" I be telling them, I said, "Well, basically, you only took 2 lessons from me, and now you think you can play like me, and it doesn't work that way." But when the triplet's done right, it sounds like this at a little faster speed. Now, here's where the four fingers come in. You're doing a thumb, a pluck, and a hammer, okay? What you got to do is alternate each finger back and forth. So you're going thumb, thumb, pluck, hammer on the first, and then the pluck is with the first finger. You come back again, and you do thumb, and then you pluck again with the second finger and hammer, okay, with the left hand. So you're going thumb, pluck, hammer, thumb, pluck, hammer, thumb, pluck with the third finger, hammer, thumb, pluck with the fourth finger, hammer, and going back to the third, the second, and the first finger. This is very very important because when you just try to do this type of technique with just one finger, you will actually end up getting a cramp. I remember when I first learned this technique, I was tripling. I mean, I was actually tripling 200, 200 on a metronome at a quarter note per quarter note, which was like just the beat was going like this, and it sounded like Flight of the Bumblebee. I mean, the funk version of Flight of the Bumblebee. You know, it was like, my God, what am I playing? And I mean, I was like 16 years old, so I went around school playing all day long, and my band director told me, he said, "What are you playing? It sounds like a drummer." You know, people would come in the room. I remember kids would come in the room and watch me play all this stuff, and I could never explain it to them. So basically, I had to learn how to slow it down. And I'm tell you something. Most of the time when I try to play it, and I play it more than a minute or two, this finger would jam up, and it would be actually stuck. So I would try to pry it open and try to get it back like this, and it would just go back. I was actually having cramps in my finger. To play these triplets or the whole style so that I'd be more comfortable. And I learned to play with each individual finger. It took time, but once I got it together, it made a lot of sense to me. And a lot of bass players will say, "Oh man, you shouldn't play like that, man, because basically these two fingers are the weakest." But I've proven over the years that time and time again that this style is probably one of the most unique styles, and I'm not saying that because I am who I am or whatever, but I'm saying that because I can play with any drummer and play whatever he plays, and I can play this almost the same identical thing, and you don't find a lot. When I do this again, I'm gonna do it again, and I'm gonna do it at a faster speed. Probably this is my normal speed for doing this. So, like I said again, take your time and don't try to do this too fast. So now you can choose to use a real note, like I was showing you earlier, or just use a rhythm. That's the faulty note and the hammer. Little flamingo guitar there. So basically, learn how to do the basic triplet, and then you can take this and do the exercises slowly and learn how to use this in the type of music you're playing. You can use it in rock music, you know. And ballads too, because once you learn how to play this way, instead of going, I don't add this to it so that you have a different tone, a different feel, and also you'll be able to have a little bit more control in terms of how you want to play a triplet. All right. Now, basically, I've showed you the fingers, the thumb, okay, and the triplet. Now, what I want to do is do a rhythm or do what I call groove, and then what you can do is try to learn how to do the triplet while I'm playing this groove in the same tempo that I'm playing, and learn how to play the triplet along with me so that you get a feel for it. So I'm gonna play real slow. Out when you playing them and not overplay them, and just have this going you know, all day. I mean, a lot of times when I play in the studio, I don't even show that I can play this technique because a producer will say, well, this guy may overplay on the track. So I'll just play like an average, everyday bass player and come in the studio and they'll throw the charts in front of me. I play what's written. And he'll walk up to me and, and say, well, won't you add this and add that? See, this way I'll get called back again. But sometimes they'll ask me to do a solo. Matter of fact, during the 70s, I recorded on quite a few records. And I wasn't called in to play the bass line. Once they had found out I was playing this way, producer would say, hey, call Bill Dickens to come in and play 4 bars. So I would come in the studio and just play over a disco line like this, and I would be playing a bass solo for 4 bars. So I mean, I didn't even have enough time to find out the producer's name or anything. I just come in there and he said, go in there, plug up, get a sound, and that was it. And I was out of there. The next thing I'm going to show you is a triplet on 1 string. Now, earlier I showed you how to play a triplet on 2 strings, and that was with the hammer on, okay? Which was like this. Now, I'm going to show you how to play a groove or a pattern or whatever you want to call it on 1 string. Now, the reason why I say this because a lot of bass players I teach, the one thing I teach them, and it's sort of like a similar technique like Ron Carter would say, play a swing line in one position of the bass, which is pretty hard to do. I kind of got that same concept the for playing with your thumb. Learning how to play what you would play on all 4 strings basically on 1 string. So what I'm going to do is play something on 1 string, and then I'm going to show you how to do this. Now I'm going to end up using also the things I showed you at the beginning with the thumb, the first finger, second finger, third finger, and fourth finger, and also the hand taps. Okay. Now, you may think I just cheated because you saw my hand hit the E string. What I'm doing is I'm playing basically on 1 string, like this, and using think about, okay, if you were looking at some music and the music was going by. I'm take it a little faster. Sometimes I mess up myself. Anyway, you can do this in any key, and it doesn't matter, just as long as you have the tapping together and just have your hand like this and going one triplet, two triplet, three triplet, four triplet, like that. And also having the tapping doing like this, or real basic. Okay. Now, I do a assortment of triplets. I do all sorts of triplets. I do triplets off of one string. I do triplets uh, where I can move up and down the bass. I can do triplets in any form or fashion, of a diminished to a major to whatever. I don't really think about it in terms of putting limitations on myself for doing the type of triplets I do, because usually I'll play a triplet and then I'll go back and think about it, while I'm playing something else, and then I'll just say, well, where you want to play it at? Anywhere. It's not boring. It's just that I've learned how to master this way of playing, and it's taken me years to feel comfortable to a point that wherever I want to play it, it doesn't matter, or how I play it, it just comes out, but I can explain it technically. Some people can play so much stuff, and you'll sit up and you'll look at them and say, what did you just do? And they'll just look at you, I don't know. So you tell them to slow it down. They say, I can't slow it down. So how did you learn how to play it? I don't know. It just happened. And that was all there is to it. But I've sat down not only learning how to play the way I play, but also learning how to understand it and be able to make somebody else understand. When you understand it and when you're able to explain it to somebody, you could take the style of playing and take it to the next level. And there's levels of this playing. And I think for any bass player that always already have a good concept of thumb playing, this concept of playing will take you to another level. Um, I've seen some bass players that learn how to play the way I play, take it to a level, and I would look at them and just like, wow, did I really teach you how to play like that? And I'll go back and say, well, now you got to show me what you just did, and they can explain it because I show them how to do it and do the basics. It all starts from the basics. Very important. You know about knowing the structure of playing this type of style from nothing to something real big. So I really feel good when I see bass players that take this style and do it right, and then I go out and see them play, or see them in the studio, or hear them on a record, and hear them do something so amazing, and it would be from their own way, that it's their own personality, it's them doing it. It may be what I taught them, but the way they're doing it is their own interpretation, which is to me something new. So I'm always growing and learning to play new and different things on the bass from that particular style. Now what I'm going to do here is show you also a triplet where you can play on two strings, but it won't be like this. It won't be like this. It'll be like this. What that is I would call is an octave triplet. It will basically what I'm doing is going between octaves. So what I'm doing is just going. I'm hitting a rhythm. Then I do what it it's called a slur. Then going up to the then hit with your thumb. Then go up to the octave. Then hit with your thumb again. Then you go up to the octave. Then hit with your thumb again. Now, there's only one thing I forgot. Basically, you have a note before you go. There's a pickup. And basically what you're doing is going. And that's a faulty note. So when you do it real fast, it sounds like notes, but it's actually a faulty note in there. Okay. Remember not to so many triplets that you kind of clog up the groove or whatever you're playing, and make the rest of the rhythm section feel inhibited or feel like that they can't add what they feel. It's just you put them in little spots, and it really works. It's very effective, and you should have a lot of fun with it. And I hope you enjoy that part of it. Okay. But I tell you, there's so much to learn with this style, and I hope that all you people that will be watching this learn it right. And one day I may see you playing it, and then I'll ask you for a lesson, and then who knows? You may be Bill Dickens and beyond. I'd like to introduce the musicians on my Backstage Pass video, some of the best musicians here in San Francisco. Frank Martin on keyboards, Steph Birnbaum on guitar, and Will Kennedy on drums.